possible and making this conversation possible from here outside the studio today on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. Good to see you.
Thank you, my
and I like the colors. One is in a cap, one is in a,
Sure.
Thank you.
So, Anthony and Calvin, Manchester City's story in the English Premier League has been one very interesting one, because you saw last season, which was relatively disappointing.
Yeah.
That's not where you expected to be.
Yeah.
But then, end of the season came, you kept faith with Pep Guardiola, and here we are with a team that looks very, very good to probably go back to status quo, which is to dominate in the English Premier League.
Sure. Well said. First of all, I would want to say hello to all the official Manchester City fans. Now, I would also want to say that the Manchester City official page is duly recognized at the Etihad, and we are official dues-paying members of the club. Wow. So we use this medium to invite all well-meaning citizens to join us so that we can celebrate the game. Now, going back to your question, yes, we realized that last season wasn't so good for Manchester City because we had a few hiccups in the squad. We realized that we had major injuries that affected us. That notwithstanding, we were able to finish at an appreciable level in the league. Now, coming back to this season, we realized that at a point our season was going down south. But the new additions to the team has been able to revive the hopes of giving Arsenal a competition in the league. Yes.
Talk about Arsenal competition in the league. I know from your perspective you are very happy, and greetings to all the Arsenal fans. There's a bit of against in the studio. Don't worry, some of us will be on your side at a certain point.
Yeah.
Now, Arsenal, about 2 or 3 seasons ago, Arsenal found themselves on the brink of capturing the Premier League title.
Yeah.
And then came a focused, a tough, a troublesome Manchester City. And that game, I remember that evening very well. That game just turned things around, and Arsenal let it slip through their fingers. Manchester City take over. For you, where has that character been drawn from? Where have you in previous times drawn that big game character, big season character from?
Thank you, Nat, and a big shout out to citizens out there. It's from our DNA. If you know Manchester City, at least for the last decade or so, City had been, City had given kind of a situation to their fans that many times at the end of it, they are a bit uncomfortable, but we know that we finish strong. And you know what happened when you should ask Manchester United, you should ask Liverpool. They will tell Arsenal what could happen, because you don't want to be chased by Manchester City. It's just like someone is running. If you're running away from a goat, you will be, yes, a bit scared, and you try to be, take the right cover. But if you are chased by a tiger, by a lion, you will be terrified. I know Arsenal is in the lead, but Arsenal is not comfortable. And Arsenal is not comfortable because of the DNA of Manchester City. Manchester City is very good at the run-ins. There has not been any team, I believe, in the last decade that have been able to, from February to May, have top runs in terms of winning streaks. Manchester City is used to that. Manchester City is used to pressure. Arsenal isn't. So it is, well, we knew that Manchester City team at the moment is at the point of rebuild. We have a lot of senior players that left the last season, and we have just a couple of new old folks. blended with the new guys. So it's a new team that Pep is building. However, Man City haven't seen their most terrible season. Now, last season was the worst. City was on the ground. But guess what? City being on the ground, City still qualified for Europe, for the Champions League. Top 3, top 4. That's how good City is. Even at its lowest, it is still the highest for many. There are some top teams that played their best but didn't finish top 4, and City did. So coming to this season is a continuation, I think, from last season. I still do think Arsenal is favorite. I still do think. I honestly think
that's a very, very honest, submission there.
Yes. I want to think, because, guys, it's still 4 points. And we all know how incredible Arsenal have been this season. In fact, Arsenal have been that good even last season. But because of City's DNA and what City is made of, and not last season that City took it, but the previous season, where we thought Arsenal was taking it, we thought Liverpool was taking it, City came and then took it. So 4 points is still very good, and this season Arsenal have been very good at the defense. Arsenal have not conceded much, in this season. They have been very controlled, they have been very disciplined at the defense. So it's difficult to break them down. So they're favorite, I must say. Until we can, Man City can meet Arsenal in that clash, this, as I can tell you, Man City is still in the title race. But Arsenal is favorite. It's 4 points. If Arsenal does what they have to do, or Arsenal as a team do what they have to do, then there is nothing we can do. But we still have about 12 games, am I right? Or 11 games to go. A lot of things can happen. Arsenal meeting Chelsea, Arsenal meeting I think Tottenham, and a few other teams. And Arsenal will meet City. So Arsenal knows that, hey, why you think Arsenal fans are not really jumping happy? Because they know they are not comfortable. If you have City behind you, you can't be comfortable. Yes.
And of course, that just, brings a bit of memories from Formula One, where if you are getting a hot chase from some drivers, you know that you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
We're still here on the Joy Sports Link, on Joy 99.7 FM, and also on YouTube. Remember, we're coming to you live from Delish Restaurant at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. We're right here by the poolside. Lovely atmosphere this fine Saturday. And we're just looking ahead to a few things that have been happening. We're throwing the focus for this first part of the show on Manchester City and the Ghanaian interest that has grown there over the period. And of course, two key persons within the official Manchester City Supporters Club of Ghana, Anthony Attoh and Calvin Birch, are here with me to do the discussions to start things off this afternoon. Remember, it's 055-1111-997, 055-1111-997. If you're outside of Ghana, please prefix with +233. And I've already gotten some very interesting messages. I'll be sharing some of them with you very, very shortly. But Tony, let's also backtrack a little bit and look at what has made City this very big force in the English Premier League. Because if you want to date back just about 15 years ago, the story was completely different in terms of, pedigree, and in terms of strength, and in terms of names that get football fans to turn a neck. It was not there, but Emirati, funding came in there, Emirati vision came in there, and it changed everything. And I guess that this is also a big learning point for clubs in this side of the world.
Sure, exactly so. The Emiratis, when they come in, they have a winning mentality, they have profitability mentality, and they also have development of the game. Now you realize that when they came, they've been able to push a lot of things into Man City. Now you realize comparatively to Manchester United, you realize that Ronaldo was complaining about the dressing rooms, the training rooms, the gyms and all those things, that they are having old equipment and stuff. The story is different from the Emirati group. When they come in, they develop the game, they develop the infrastructure, and finally it is about the manager factor. Now you realize that when they came in, they needed to find a manager whose philosophy match up with theirs, developing the players, developing the game, and developing the club. So in terms of the development of the game, I mean, the Emiratis are good at it. Now you look at the type of players that Man City will also command. It also tells you the pedigree that they want to send the game. Now, if you look at Pep Guardiola, when he came in, he made a massive transformation into the Man City squad. You remember within a space of 1 or 2 seasons, he changed about 3 goalkeepers. He changed Bravo and brought in other goalkeepers, right? Now, you realize that the mentality from the Emiratis transcends over the manager too as well. And you know Pep Guardiola has eye for good players, quality stuff, right from defense, the middle and the attack. Now you realize that years back, anywhere that we feel that there's a deficit in terms of playing squad, in terms of the quality over there, quickly he fixed it. Now you remember at a point, it was a joke that Man City has spent over £500 million building the defense alone. So that will tell you what they want to achieve, right? Now the playing body too. Now you remember, football is based on the field and out the field. Now outside the field comes with the attitude. Remember, Pep Guardiola is a no-nonsense coach, right? He makes sure that you have the right attitude, the right formation, and even the mentality for the game. Now, if you see the current Man City squad, now take away the old guys who left. Now, the new guys that are coming in, they have a mentality that goes strictly with the club's philosophy. And that should tell you that, yes, Guardiola means business, right? So for me, I think it's a combination of the Emirati takeover and the manager factor too. Infrastructure, the team has been prepped up for improvements in the Premier League.
Yeah. Amazing stuff there. Let me start reading some of the messages that have come in. A very interesting set of messages. Good afternoon, Nathaniel, and thank you for this very interesting show. I'm a Manchester City fan myself, and trust me, just like we did some seasons ago, we will overtake Arsenal. And he writes overtake in capital letters. Gerald, thank you so much, Gerald, for that message. Gerald is sending this message from Oyarifa. Gerald, thank you very much. And then this one is from Kelvin Osu. Kelvin says, good afternoon, Nathaniel, and good afternoon to your panelists. I think that this will go down to the wire. I think that the Gunners have suffered a little too long, and this is the time they need to salvage some pride. Manchester City may be able to catch up, but I don't think that Arsenal will leave it and let it go. Kevin Owusu, thank you very much for that one. Another one from Kwame in Adenta. Kwame says, good afternoon, Joy Sports Link. You know, there is something very interesting that has happened. Once there's Ghanaian interest in Manchester City, I trust that Semenyo will bring his firepower to the front and help them win the first English Premier League title on his debut season for the Light Blues. Okay, thank you very, very much. Another one here from Desmond. Desmond in Kolibu says, I don't believe that Manchester City can overtake us. Gunners for life. Thank you very much, Desmond. Now, Awal Sulemana says, good afternoon, and thank you, Nathaniel, for this conversation. I've been having this argument with my friends all week, especially after we saw the close in the gap. I do not think that Arsenal have the strength to overcome the power of Manchester City. We are chasing them closely, and I know they can feel the heat. Awal continues to say that we will lift the trophy, and this will be one of the biggest stories of comeback in the English Premier League. Thank you very much. Okay, so thank you very much, Awal, for that message. Remember, it's 055-1111-997. A very interesting set of thoughts coming in for this particular situation that we find in the English Premier League. One of the reasons we're also having this conversation to start off the show is that the Ghanaian interest is very, very glaring and has come at a very strategic time when Ghana is looking forward to parading the best possible talent at the upcoming FIFA World Cup. The die is cast, and Ghana has a major assignment to undertake against some very, very big potential foes in the FIFA World Cup. Let's now zero it in on Antoine Semenyo. Young player, had a very, very solid foundation, and I want us to begin from the foundation. Had a very, very solid foundation from his former club, and that was a lot of testament to his quality and what he could do. And when the time came, Guardiola did not waste time. He snapped and he got him. He's got a signature.
Yes. Semenyo, I don't know how many.
The commentators call him Semenyo.
Semenyo. Yes, Semenyo. Okay. So his name means good destiny.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Destiny, or destiny is good. And I think he's been up to it. Even from the championship, he had been at the peak of he played very well. So he was then promoted, a team at the top saw him, Bournemouth took him, and he shined also. He was shiny. So he's a shiny star. Destiny is indeed good. And then, of course, there was no doubt that he will come to City, because there were many interests in Semenyo. City took him, saw him. Pep Guardiola knows what he wants, and he had been watching him for some time. And when it was the right time, he pulled him and brought him over. And the guy is only going to he's only going to get better. He's going to break records. As you know, it seems that every 10 years there is a Ghanaian at the top level in the English Premier League that is doing something incredible. Tony Yeboah, I think 90,
the early 90s to mid 90s.
Yes.
Okay.
Leeds United. The record was there. I think 12 goals or 11 goals. 10 years after that, it was Dede Ayew with what's the team? Swansea.
But before that, Michael
Asian. Then Dede Ayew.
Before that, Alex Nyako was in there, played for Everton. Yeah.
The number of goals, I was looking at that record.
You're looking at the number of goals.
The number of goals, yeah, that record. So he came in. He was shining at Bournemouth, of course. But he broke the record when he joined Man City, and he is only just few weeks. All right, and is just in the last. We still have the last lap of this of the season to go, and he is top there. So is a big deal being under such a manager with an incredible talent. He is only going to get better. He is going to take all that means a lot for Ghana, for the Black Star. Because if you are in, I can say, one of the best teams in the world, okay, top in the world, arguably the best coach in the world. You are under the best coach in the world, and you are at your peak. You are an incredible player. You can't teach someone who is already talented to be talented, but you can give him skills that can make him better. And he is under the right guidance, the right leadership in terms of the team structure. Pep Guardiola can guide that boy. I mean, he's young. He's going to be more disciplined. He's going to have he's going to take the team's culture, the team's structure, the team's mentality, which not many teams have, even in the top tier of that. And under a leadership, or under the leadership of Pep Guardiola, Semenyo is just going to explode in the coming years, and that is incredible for Ghana.
Yeah. Amazing stuff. Semenyo exploding in the coming years. It was a very good preparatory ground for him at Bournemouth, and you saw him deliver the goals. Did some incredible things. I'm drawn to a penalty that he struck with a slightly different technique. He placed the ball ready to play, walks away, and then just turns around and quickly strikes it back in. I mean, that was one of the very big moments for me for Antoine Semenyo. Well, I don't know about you, but he's working under the best manager. That's by your analysis. And now there's everything for him to go and take. He's already broken a record of number of goals, like a single player scores in a season.
Yeah. So when you look at the trajectory for Semenyo, right from his Bristol City days to Bournemouth main team, he has scored 11 goals in Bournemouth, and that's a big deal. Semenyo, in a season before joining Manchester City, and you also realize that he scored important goals against Liverpool and Manchester United. That was my favorite, the goal against Manchester United. And you realize that from there, the numbers has just been showing up the numbers with technique, with power, with versatility and other stuff. I mean, working under Pep Guardiola, arguably the best coach in the world, I mean, he's just going to get better. And now looking at the gelling of Semenyo straight into the Manchester City team is also something remarkable that we could also pick from there.
I mean, the last time I checked, it was Michael Essien who came from Olympique Lyonnais and just jumped in and run along.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a very, very important trait to have as a player.
Sure. And you realize that not many players who don't normally go on a pre-season with a team normally struggle a bit before they find their feet. Exactly. But you realize that Semenyo has been an instant hit. And with that attitude, I mean, the sky is just the limit. And playing this number of goals, having goals and assists in his trolley, it makes it good for Man City. Now coming back to Ghana, I think that there's something that we need to do right in order to harness the quality of Semenyo as he showed in Bournemouth and is now showing in Manchester City. Yes.
Amazing stuff there. I'll be reading some more of your messages as we go along, and that also then means that we're expecting his A game. But I've always talked about the support system. Support systems which are created around big players. And Semenyo obviously is a big player. There's a lot of conversation about how we haven't seen that form replicated with the Black Stars team. That he's not the only one who has suffered that criticism or that analysis. There are others who have said similar about other players of the Black Stars team. And so now where do we strike the balance? Where do we see him, or what kind of performance do we see him posting at the FIFA World Cup, and what kind of support system do you want to see for him based on all these performances that he's putting up for Manchester City? Well,
in times past, we have coaches building teams around anchor players. We've seen that before, and I was expecting that Coach Otto Addo, those times when Kudus was on his top game, he could have built the team around Kudus, but we didn't see that. Now, look at the performance Semenyo is giving to Man City. I think that it will be good for us to build a team around it, because currently he's a star man and he's the top performer. Now you realize that from his debut in 2002, right? I think the Madagascar game or something. When he came in, he was an instant hit. He scored on his debut. The next game, he didn't score. The next game he scored. He scored 3 goals in since his debut. Now let's juxtapose it to Man City. He has scored more than 3 goals in Man City. What does it tell you? That if we are to build a team around Semenyo, not him alone, make him and other players the anchorhead of the team, we are going to be able to get the best out of him, right? So for me, I favor the instances where coaches will have to build teams around good players. I mean, so that the support systems will flow. And moreover, too, we also have to bear in mind that Semenyo has goals and assists, right? So he, with regards to Man City, he has scored, he has given assists. So if we are able to build a team around Semenyo and a few of the players who are going to be our anchorheads, I think it's going to be a good story for us.
Amazing, amazing stuff there indeed. Now, let's look at the future. Let's look at the kind of future you, the fans, project for Antoine Semenyo, in Manchester City, based on the way he has started. We have all admitted here that the start for him is very, very crucial and is going to play a very big role in his eventual performances, especially for Ghana. But for you, what kind of projection are you making for Semenyo, for City, and the kind of longevity that he possibly could have?
So for me, I am looking at double numbers. I'm looking at double numbers for City because he has already done double numbers for Bournemouth, right? So I'm looking at an instance whereby he's just going to double up the numbers that he had in Bournemouth at Man City. Now I'm also looking at adding something to his game because Semenyo is class. Now we need a situation whereby something, a wow factor will be added into his development, and that we can get a complete player in him. So for me, I think that the future is bright for him, and if we are going to give him the support that he's getting in Man City, I think that Ghana can also harness good stuff on Semenyo. Yes.
Amazing stuff. Tell me about your part of the conversation as well.
Yeah, I think first of all, let me start with Ghana. It's very positive for Ghana, and the reason is that having a player like Semenyo, in a top flight league with under the arguably the best manager in the world, and he brings a lot to the table. He brings good structure, which is good for the national team. He brings confidence. He brings tactics. He brings mentality, and because the national team, Ghana national team, sometimes on many occasions, structurally, there's an issue. Being able to properly distribute, when to move, when the anxiety sometimes just mess everything up. So if you have a player coming, it's just like having in the Ghana army. Let's say you're in the Ghana army and you have a new recruit who had some discipline and some training from the Marine, the US, and you happen to have that recruit in the Ghana army. Do you think he will be the same just like others? No. Even some instructors will reach out to him and get some strategies from him that can benefit the rest. And I think get Semenyo coming from Manchester City under the tutelage of Pep and that structure, he will be bringing a lot to the national team. And I hope they can tap from there and play to his strengths, because you might weaken him, you might not get his maximum, the optimum from him if you don't utilize him in the right places. And that is where many of the national team coaches go wrong. I don't know whether they watch those guys playing, and I understand sometimes they don't have the quality to complement. But you need to find a way how you can utilize these guys at their strengths, where they are strong, and they can give you the optimum, output or benefits. Then his future obviously is bright. I would say you will need sun shades to really see it, because it's really bright. The challenge, I don't know how long Pep Guardiola going to be with City. That's another, but I think so far the owners still have a lot of confidence in Pep. So under him, I think this guy is going to go so high. We already have seen what what Haaland had and where he's going. We know what Semenyo has and where he's going. He's at the right place. And if he stays disciplined, he stays focused, man, the sky is the limit. We will have this guy, I agree with him, banging in more than double figures every single season. And we just need to wait and see.
Well, I don't know where you belong, but the Manchester City fans have the privilege of being here with us as we go through the first part of this show. I know there are those of you who disagree purely on fanaticism basis, and there are those of you who humbly agree because you see the signs on the wall, you see the numbers, and you see the statistics, and you know that it is looking good for them. Well, and obviously from a Ghanaian perspective as well, there are those who are going to sway their allegiance to Manchester City. We saw that happen when Michael Essien, played for Chelsea many years ago. So it's not surprising at all. We have our Nigerian brothers and sisters supporting Arsenal because of the influence of Nwankwo Kanu. So it's not surprising at all that we see a certain spike in the followership as well of these clubs in the English Premier League. Well, from the English Premier League, we'll talk about Ghana, and we'll wrap up on the note of Hearts of Oak and Kotoko. And what I'm going to do with the two of them is that one of them will have to pick Hearts, one of them will have to pick Kotoko, and they'll have to predict, and that's mandatory on the show. But before we go, I know you're always embarking on a membership drive. How's membership going? And before we wrap up, how can friends be part of the light blue story?
Yes, so as I early indicated, as the official Manchester City supporters club, now our membership, we register, we send you a link for you to register. Now you register and your details is sent to the Etihad. Now they will send you a request form. You fill the form, so after the request form, it comes back to the country for us to approve the membership and add you to the official membership page.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yes. So we are the official supporters club group or executive of Manchester City Ghana, and this group has been active since 2019. Before 2019, but we got recognized. We got a certificate from Manchester, from the Etihad, from 2019 up to date. And so we have a big, years ago there used to be, Manchester City doesn't have fans, and right now there are a whole lot of them. But for you to be a part of Manchester City Ghana, let me give out this number quick. Okay, you can just send a WhatsApp to that number and say, I'm a Manchester City fan, or I want to join the official group of Manchester City Ghana. So take your pens right now and to get a paper. 0264634055. 0264634055. That is the number that just send me a WhatsApp on that. I am the General Secretary of Manchester City official group in Ghana, and we can take it from there. So you have been told you will Manchester City, you will click on the link, it goes to the Etihad, it comes back to us, they tell us someone is waiting and wants to join, and we can approve them and let you in. We have different groups that you can be a part of, and we can make this happen. Thank you.
Well, let's see how things go. On a very light note, David Max Fuga, I hope you are listening. The next set of Manchester City fans who will join would have to go and take a little quote, give them an invoice and let them, because we did the activation for them. Gentlemen, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you here on the show. And as I promised our viewers and our listeners, Asante Kotoko and Accra Hearts of Oak are playing tomorrow. It's the biggest fixture in the Ghana Premier League. Now, we're discussing it next, but I want to know which part of the divide you stand, and one would have to choose one, and I need scoreline predictions based on what has been happening, in the Ghana Premier League.
I don't know what you.
Okay, so you go for Hearts, you go for Kotoko by force.
I go for Kotoko. Of late, the local game is being given the attention.
Very well.
But I foresee Kotoko.
And Kotoko is playing at home as well.
Yeah, Kotoko is playing at home. I mean, they normally say that when Kotoko plays at home, Hearts are the winners, but I think this time Kotoko can win it. And I'm predicting a 2-0 score.
Wow, 2-0
against Hearts.
Accra Hearts of Oak have the man who's now, or the man who's currently the #1 choice for the goalkeeping of the Black Stars. Yeah. And Benjamin Asari is going to be, hopefully going to be imposed for Accra Hearts of Oak. Now, he says 2-0 in favor of Asante Kotoko. What about you?
A narrow lead, a narrow score line. I think 1-0 for Hearts.
1-0 for Hearts. Yeah. And of course, if it becomes 1-0 for Hearts, that will be a very, very big sigh of relief, because in the past 3 seasons, Asante Kotoko have been dominating, and that is a big part of concern for the Fulvian family. So the legendary Pat Thomas sang the song, Asante Kotoko yebesha mamo, kuma pima pemeba, that song. And then, the legendary group Wulome, also sang, Aros Aros, the Fulvian song. So let's just take a listen to some analysis, first from Coach Masoud Didi Dramani, understanding the job description, understanding that this should be a chapter flipping moment for the Fulvians. And of course, Asante Kotoko, from the perspective of the happenings, in recent times, the happenings from recent times, in the club, where you've had a legend of the club in Abdul Karim Zito say goodbye to the club. And he says, you have to put some respect on my name because I won 4 trophies for the club in this short spell. Well, a lot of these conversations are coming up. After that, we'll also take a look at the Black Stars and the additions that have been made to the Black Stars backroom staff. What are the general practices like with the big national teams around the world? Are we doing anything strange? And if not, how does this benefit the team? Remember, we've been looking at boosting the team, boosting play, and making sure that form is improved from the perspective of a key player, which is Antoine Semenyo, we've been discussing over the last few minutes here on the show. So we'll be doing some more as we go along, but right now we need to listen to the analysis on Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Hearts of Oak, and then we delve a little deeper, and then after that we look at the Black Stars, and we'll do some arm wrestling as well. There's a big tournament coming up here in Ghana, and we'll be discussing all of that right here on the show, on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM, and also live on YouTube, where we're coming to you live from Delish at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium at the big poolside. We're just enjoying the scenery here. Sometimes it's just good to step out of the studio to get it done. Well, coming up next, the conversations around Asante Kotoko and Hearts of Oak, and then we zoom in on the Black Stars.
Yesterday, we picked up reports that some guys went to the training grounds to prevent the coach from training. Later on, we hear Nana Prinka had to step in to allow the coach to train and all that. Where do we point the finger that this is where the problem is coming from? Are we solely going to be based on management, technical, or the players? The current happenings, where do we point our fingers to?
I will still continue to say it's management, ownership structure. If we have structured we have very good organizational structure. Yeah. People know where to address their grievances. Yeah. People wouldn't go to the extent of, I think this is about the 3rd time people have stormed training grounds to virtually pose a threat to players and managers. And
I remember Grafko Karozic, I remember David Duncan,
and then
now
I think even Marino or something.
Mariano Barreto. Yes.
I mean, this,
and then now,
how would you be able to guarantee players and official safety And so if you want to bring in somebody who is ambitious and qualified enough to, if I find myself in a situation where I think that I'm a very competent coach to handle a team like Kotoko, some of these things will scare me, even with the biggest amount of money to get me in. That's very sad. And when you hear some of these things, you look at Manchester United. The team has gone for almost a decade now, from the glory of European Championship and blah, 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 now struggling to even win Premier League matches. But I don't think the worst the fans you see them do is sometimes to see placards and stuff like that. Civil disobedience, not to the extent of going to training grounds, threatening people and stuff like that. That is very serious.
But from the way you speak, if managerially, if things does not change, it means that the future might look very bleak still for Kotoko.
That's how it's been the last couple of years, probably if not decades. I have not seen, for example, beginning of for the year 2000, I've not seen any year which has been better than the previous year. I haven't seen that. To the extent that you can go for 3-4 seasons without him playing in Africa. And this year, the chance of even going back to Africa to start the mediocre performance to some kind of make amends for the mediocre performance we put up last year. It's not even there because you are out of the FA Cup and chances are that you may not be able to win the league. I mean, with the current happenings, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't need a prophet to tell me that the league is out of Kotoko's reach. And so that's going to be difficult. But you remember those days, Kotoko could go to Africa in successions of, let's say, 5 years. 1980, Kotoko were in Africa. I think they were taken out in the quarterfinals. 81, they were in. 82 got to the semi-finals, and then 83. So 4 years in a row, and even 83 after they won, they had to go back. So and we could keep players longer. I'm hearing situations where people are saying that players are not staying longer. Players are not staying longer because salaries are very bad. Why are the Egyptians able to keep players for that long? Egyptian clubs can go to teams in Europe and then bring players in. Remember, at a certain point in time, Amezaki was playing for Wigan. Zamalek went in and then brought him $7-point-something million and be able to afford.
The chances of the rates?
Under normal circumstances, even when things were quote-unquote normal, you wouldn't underrate Hasofo for anything.
But they're also struggling, though.
Yeah, they're struggling, but they don't have these internal issues that, I mean, these are violent issues and stuff, because now I doubt how the coach can even sit comfortably on Sunday at the bench, especially when things are not going well, how he can probably listen to the crowd, maybe look behind into the stands and then see what the reaction will be if things are not going well, and how he will be able to compose himself to be able to handle the team. That's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. And these are not things that we want to see in a team like Asante Kotoko. Kotoko has to. The team must have to go through some revolution to be able to get the results that the fans need.
Revolution?
Revolution, not as in violent, cataclysmic revolution, but at least...
An overhaul.
An overhaul, serious overhaul. Some of them may not be pleasant. My brother, Kwesi Adamense, and I have always been talking about getting corporate bodies to be able to handle the club. If you look at Ali, for example, currently they own the stadium called Bog Arab Stadium or something. One of the stadium they use for the African Cup of Nations that they hosted years ago. Now they call the place Ali Way Stadium. They've gone through what we call usufructuary agreement with the owners of the stadium. Now Ali have quote unquote kind of rented the stadium for the next 25 years. And the payment was made by Way. Way is one of the biggest telecommunication companies in the Arab world, and which is financing the club. I'm sure they have some form of shares agreement and stuff. And I think these are some of the things that we can do. I understand from the standpoint of Ashanti tradition that maybe the Kotoko institution is one of the biggest institutions and organs of the Asante Federation or whatever it is, and that they wouldn't want to mortgage it for any reason. But this is football, and some of these things can be done.
And it's not going to be mortgaged for life.
I don't think for example, Ashanti tradition is much deeper than the British tradition, for example. Your own club, Arsenal, is owned by Arabs. And some of these things bring in investment. If you don't have them, you bring in investment. The biggest clubs in England, Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, and blah, are basically foreign-owned clubs now. But the British pride is there. It does not change the colors of Arsenal. No. It doesn't change the venue. It doesn't change the tradition of Arsenal as to how they recruit players and what their policies are. So you bring on some of these corporate bodies to be able to get resources to recruit some of the best players. Currently, I doubt if any club in Africa can even win the African Club Championship or the Champions League or the Confederations Cup without players who are first national team players. Yeah. And check El Ali, anytime they win, look at their roster. At a certain point in time, I think last year or so, the captain of Tunisian national team, Ali Maloul, was playing the left back for Ali.
Mentally, matches involving Hasselhoff and then Asante Kotoko, devoid of the standards. Everybody knows the importance of it. More importantly, we want to keep the pressure on the league leaders, and so the points at stake is so important to us, and so we are very focused in terms of what to do in order to be able to achieve that standard of gaining 3 points. The areas focus around these days is presenting the right personality, and then also the character level. And so we want to have the attitude that will present us, with the right personality, and then also to keep the character of going into the game with the right mind.
Last game we played, we didn't have our way. Things didn't go well for us. We have to make amendment, and we're ready to work very hard this week so that we can close up the gap to get a win from Hartford.
The reverse fixture ended 1-0 in our favor. Does that give you the upper hand in this encounter?
When it comes to Hartford and Kotoko, I don't count by what has happened before. It's the performance on the day, on the pitch, and how bad the other team wants it. That's what gives the results. So we are also starting to try and get ourselves ready for the game.
Coach, in the last 2 games, your strike force have failed on the scoring sheet. Is that a big concern for you?
Yeah, it is a concern. Definitely. 2 games with no goal in the net is a little bit concern. So we are going to work very hard on it. We've done our program, and it is in there that we have to spend some time by doing the finishing and the build up to the front so the strikers will get some balls into the net.
Asante Kotoko say, yeah, yeah. Asante Kotoko say, yeah, yeah. Asante Kotoko, yeah. Asante Kotoko, yeah. Asante Kotoko yebesha mamo. Asante Kotoko yebesha mamo. Asante Kotoko yebesha. Asante Kotoko yebesha mamo.
is a man who has a lot in terms of credentials when it comes to administration of sport. He's currently the General Secretary of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana, and also the pioneering president of the Ghana Arm Wrestling Federation and African president of the African, Arm Wrestling Federation. He's got a very big itinerary in the next few months, and that is to organize a very successful elective congress and also ensure the organization of a very, very smooth African Arm Wrestling Championship. We'd also be delving a bit into issues of the Ghana Olympic Committee, where he also serves as a scribe. And since the launch of a strategic document which would guide the operations of the Ghana Olympic Committee, we haven't really had time to sit for a conversation. And then in the final part of the conversation, we zoom in on the Black Stars and the new appointments that have been made for the backroom staff. Is it something that is only just a stretch on the budget, or it's something that is for the qualitative element of the appointments that have been made? That's what we want to look at here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM and also on YouTube with me, Nathaniel Attoh, and the rest of the team. Mr. Charles Osei-Sibe is my guest. Papa Toki.
Toki mon frère Lala.
Yeah. You know, every time when people listen to us over this accolade, they keep asking, what is this Toki thing?
Maybe
that
one day you need to tell the story.
But before we tell that story, we need to invite Mr. Natlaye, we need to invite Mr. Prince Anang, Morris Kwanzaa, and all the guys. May God bless the soul of Alhaji Ibrahim Slightete, fine gentleman indeed.
We miss him.
We miss him. Yeah.
He did a lot for Ghana sports, particularly football.
Yeah.
And then the relationship he had with some journalists at the time.
Amazing.
I mean, we will always remember him.
Amazing stuff. Well, let's begin from arm wrestling. That's your baby.
Sure.
Now, there is a major elective congress coming up. And the immediate question we want to ask ourselves is, will the reigning president of the federation, the African Federation, go for re-election? That will be one. And then the other one is ensuring a smooth organization of the Congress. And then, most importantly, the African Arm Wrestling Championship, where you have many, players getting ready from Ghana to dominate again.
Well, thank you, and thanks to the listeners. Starting with the elective Congress, the filing of nomination ends on February 28th. So after February 28th, I'll be able to determine whether I have filed or any other person is going to contest the incumbent, that is myself. But primarily, the decision to contest will come from Ghana. For those in Africa, a number of them have engaged me and they feel I should continue. They feel I have done enough. I should continue to serve the people of Africa. So.
And you agree with them?
Well, I need to take stock and see what I've done, but
I feel I feel you doing a lot of modesty, which is normal of any person in your place.
Of a Ghanaian. That's how we behave. You don't need to show off. You don't need to blow your own horn. Allow the people who see the good things you do to speak about it. For me, the biggest thing that happened to arm wrestling in Africa when I took over as a leader was the ensuring that it became a sports code for the African Games. And after that period, it has become so popular. People are in love with the sport. It is why my people want me to continue. But Nat, it hasn't been easy leading Ghana and Africa. If I will take this decision, my family will be involved. If I will take this decision to continue, Ghana must be involved. I know, I have discussed with the Secretary General for Africa, and for him, he won't take anything except I say yes. But Ghana must be involved, because as a nation, we have decided to support Ghanaians to go for top positions as far as sports and anything ECOWAS, AU, or African is concerned. But how much support is the country giving to Osei-Sibe? Arm wrestling does not belong to Osei-Sibe. It is a product that I have turned into a brand for Ghana. So it has now become a Ghanaian product. Remember, in the last African Games, out of the 69 medals Ghana won, arm wrestling won 41 for Ghana. But for arm wrestling, Ghana wouldn't have been where it is. So if the nation supports my bid, financially, I will consider. The country must bless me. The country must support my bid financially. You and I know that you cannot go into these elections just like that. You need to travel. You need to campaign. You need to engage. But it demands some amount of resources. Once Ghana endorses that I should go, I would consider. Remember, when you sit up there, you see a lot of things. You fight for your country. And that's why I feel Ghana must consider this. If Ghana wants to do well at the 2027 African Games, where we are still working to get arm wrestling to become a sports code, then Ghana must support this. And maybe it's a conversation we must have after this radio thing. So if anybody is listening to you and is interested in my bid to retain the seat as president for Africa Arm Wrestling, maybe the person can call me on the side and say, Mr. Sesibe, I want to lead the campaign. This is how much I have to support you. Because I need to travel the length and breadth of Africa. I need to convince people. I need to let people know why I should be maintained. So we would organize the elective congress on April 30. Nominations will end on February 28, but the elections will be on April 30. And then if I'm retained as the president or otherwise, I'll organize the beautiful African Championship in Accra. Remember that championship is also a qualifier for the 2027 Africa Games. And at this point, my focus is not on hosting to win. First of all, the minister has tasked us to host a global event. We should make it beautiful. But for me, I want to qualify as many athletes into the African Games. Host and win is not part of my focus for now. If we host and we win, I'll be happy. But the areas where we have to qualify for the African Games, I would let nothing go by. I will fight and ensure that for every category, if I don't get the 2 slots, I'll get at least 1 to qualify for the African Games.
Amazing stuff there indeed. So there's one thing I'm certain about, that when the nominations end, we will have a name as Charles Osesibe, amongst the contestants.
Well, like
there's no doubt about
if,
that.
If the Ghanaian believe that I should, I'll consider, because already Africa wants me to go. So once Ghana supports
so strings that you do not see are being pulled right now. So we'll talk about that. Don't worry.
Oh, we'll pray. We'll pray. I pray to be the leader for the 2026 Africa Championship, because elections will be held on April 30. The championship starts on May 1. So if I lose, then I can't be the president to open the championship. But if I win, or when I'm maintained, then we'll have a wonderful championship where I'm expecting about 25 countries to come into Ghana. I'm expecting about 400 pullers to come participate and see how many of them can qualify for the African Games. So it will be a wonderful championship. We also use this opportunity to call on corporate Ghana to come support us. We have said that whoever decides to associate with our sports will get the necessary mileage they need. I'm on Joy today, and I'm sure if anybody had come to support, well, it would have been a free platform. So I'm using this platform to call on corporate Ghana to come support us. And we will give Africa a wonderful championship. We will ensure that we qualify as many Ghanaians into the next Africa Games. And we pray that if Ghana supports me, I'll contest for the leadership of Africa Arm Wrestling and hopefully have a Tokil allowing.
Amazing. Look, this also opens up the conversation, around politics generally, sports politics on the continent and with international bodies. We're looking at CAF. As we speak, one of the 2 vice presidents of the Confederation of African Football is Ghanaian, in our very own Kotoko. You are there, leading African arm wrestling. Mr. Herbert Mensah is leading African rugby. So we see a certain trend of, emerging, Ghanaian leaders on the African front when it comes to sports administration. But obviously, from what you have said, a lot of resource is needed, just like partisan politics, isn't it?
Well, it is. If you want to lead, you should be ready to spend first of all, you need to work so hard to convince the people that you deserve to be considered. Beyond that, in Africa, we play the humility card. Oh, people want you to come to them. Otherwise, our MPs and presidential candidates won't travel nationwide. They will sit, and based on popularity and what they have been able to do, they will get people to vote for them. But the Ghanaian naturally, oh, the guy came to me. He came to beg. He came to say I should vote. People love that. It is why you must invest to get there. But you see, one important thing, Nat, the reason for which, as a country, we must encourage Ghanaians to be up there, I bet you. But for the fact that I was leading Africa arm wrestling may not have gotten the opportunity to play in the African Games. But the fact that I am a leader for Africa arm wrestling wouldn't have been able to win 41 medals. See, DFA, a number of good things comes our way because Kurt is there. He's the leader for the zone, the sub-region. He's the leader for Ghana. He sits as CAF vice president. There are a lot of things he sees and nobody can take away from Ghana. Herbert Mensah, if you monitor the development of rugby in Ghana, it is because Herbert sits up there. So anytime there's anything like development fund, support and all of that, he would push some to Ghana. So I feel we must push our people to serve in key positions on the continent and global bodies so that they will influence development. So it's serious politics. It's just like becoming an MP. If you are not a cabinet minister or a minister, forget it. It becomes very difficult for you to push for stuff for your community. You must be with the big boys. And that's the kind of game sports must play. We must encourage Ghanaian administrators to get into the top level sports administration on the continent. But look, if I go back, the late Sam Nelson,
God bless his soul, the former chief executive of the Sports Council at the time, which is now the National Sports Authority.
He also led Ghana Athletics.
Yeah.
He went to the top to become number 2 at the African Confederation level. I feel that when we're able to push people into these positions, a lot of things will come our way. And I think we should be deliberate about it. Government should be deliberate about it. Look, if I tell you how we won the bid for the upcoming African Athletics Championship, apart from what we did during the African Games, look, Bawa
you
was
had
connected.
to explore relationships.
Yes. Bawa was super connected. President Bawa for Ghana Athletics.
Yes.
Super connected. So we had to move and engage people at the time. Botswana is celebrating 60 years this year.
So it would have been perfect for them to
for them.
Yeah.
Their government was so much involved, they were going to spend so much money to ensure that this event goes into Botswana. But Ghana took it because Bawa had relationships. So I think it's important for us as a country to push our people up there. We shouldn't pull them down. We should encourage them. Look, if you go to Cameroon, if you go to Morocco and the rest, sometimes I feel sad. As I speak with you, my life has become sports. My private life, my private business, I'm unable to attend to. Because today you are done with this, tomorrow you do another, the day after you do another. When you go to places like Cameroon and the Northern African countries, anybody that serves on a continental body, not just president, once you serve on a continental body, you are given a diplomatic treatment. You get a diplomatic passport, you get an office, you get all those things. If you lead a confederation, you are given a V8 and a house. Check. What has Ghana done for us, SCB? Apart from the fact that I walk on the streets and president. That's the only thing I enjoy. But what has Ghana done? I feel that we must treat our people well so that they can commit more time to the development and promotion of sports. In Ghana, if you're a federation head, sincerely not, and you don't have resources, forget it, you can't do it. If you don't have the network and friends to help you find sponsorship to lead, forget it. And I feel we must have a different orientation and understand that sports is business. Sports is health and wealth. Once we understand that sports is health and wealth, a lot of things will change. We must know and agree that sports is wealth. It will change the orientation of the Ghanaian. And I've said this repeatedly. People go to high school, they go to university, they complete, they are jobless. But if you are able to prepare athletes to become professionals, whatever they do as athletes will begin to pay them. And that is the level we must begin to go now.
Well, that's a very interesting perspective you've brought to this, and that also reminds me, when it comes to sports administration, of our Olympics body, the Ghana Olympic Committee, of which you are, a key, element. Now, recently a strategic document was launched, and that is to look at the way we organize ourselves within the Olympic movement, and also look at the way we show at various Olympic events. Where are we? What do we need to do to see full implementation?
Well, Nat, thank you very much. When the Richard Akpakavi led leadership took over, the man himself and his board decided that you cannot build a house without a building plan. They have said that there is nothing we can do if we do not have a plan. If we don't know where we are starting from and don't even know where we are going. So he had a series of engagements with all the federations. It started from Kofodia, he came to Nat Hall, and we went to East Legon to finalize a certain strategic document. And the basic reason, or the key thing, is for us to have a sustainable sports success. Sustainable sports success. We don't want a situation where this year we go to the Commonwealth Games or we go to Anoka Games, we do well, the following year our performance becomes shambolic. So for us to have a sustainable sports success, the GOC had to put together this document, 2025 to 2029, where the document speaks about deliberate unearthing of talents, deliberate investment in talents, that he calls it athlete focus or athlete centered. For everything we want to do as GOC or as a federation, we must be athlete focused. It is not about the leader, but it is about the athlete. So the 5 thematic areas, 1 was to be athlete focused, I have explained. 2 is women empowerment. 3, gaining the trust of corporate institutions and how to even deal with government. The other thing was also about accountability. The other thing was also about leadership. And we want to ensure that deliberately every federation under the Ghana Olympic Committee will work with this working document so that in 2 years, in 4 years, all of us will grow together. Remember, if it works at the federation level, it affects the mother body, which is the Olympic Committee. So the GOC deliberately wants all federations to go by this document in their development plan. So deliberately, they have met all the federations. When the document was done, every federation has been given a copy. And the GOC says that if you do not go by the dictates of this document, I cannot offer you support. Remember, one of the thematic areas in the document is sponsorship. The GOC wants to find a nice way of, raising sponsorship and then ensuring that the federations under the GOC will benefit from the sponsorship. But the key thing is that if you do not go with by the dictates of the document, you cannot be a beneficiary. So the GOC wants to be athlete focused. They want to be transparent. Governance within the various federations, they want to ensure that every federation under the GOC abides by the GOC governance structure. We want to raise sponsorship. We want to offer scholarship to athletes, a number of things. So it's a document which is launched. In the coming days, it will be presented to the minister and the National Sports Authority. But I'm sure, in fact, one of the things the GOC is going to do is that the GOC president is deliberate. He has formed various committees to ensure that the various thematic areas will be managed by these committees. Beyond the committees, for each of these, there's an officer responsible for that. Because Nat, if you don't take care, you put together the document and implementation becomes a problem. So you need to be deliberate about implementation. So I'm sure that in the next year or two, we would see a number of things. But I must say that in the last 1 year, the GOC is not yet a year in office, but a kind of support through sponsorship or donations they have given to the federations. I think it is why in 2025, Ghana did well. The athletics team that placed fourth at the World Championship, it was because of the GOC support. They didn't have money to do pre-campaign. The GOC gave them money. The badminton team you see today performing so well, it is the support of the GOC. The table tennis team you have seen qualify for the world after so many years, it is the support of the GOC. The GOC helped many, many federations, including boxing and arm wrestling. Last year, they paid the annual affiliation fees for a number of these federations. So the Akpakavi-led GOC is doing a lot. In the year under review, we competed in the ECOWAS Games in Burkina Faso. We brought in a number of medals as a team. Beyond that, we went to the African School Games. We brought about 14 medals. After the African School Games, we went to the Africa Youth Games, where we qualified a number of our athletes into the upcoming Senegal event. So the GOC has been strategic, apart from supporting the various federations, ensured that we traveled for almost every major competition around. And our young athletes who went to the Africa School Games and the Africa Youth Games came back home, they made us proud. These are the athletes we are preparing to ensure they qualify for the upcoming Youth Games in Senegal.
Amazing stuff. Remember, we're still here on the Joy Sports link on Joy 99.7 FM and on YouTube. My guest is the President of African Arm Wrestling and General Secretary of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana, Charles Osei-Sibe. He also is in charge of communications for the Ghana Olympic Committee, delving into various issues. Now, we want to throw the focus a bit on Asante Kotoko before going to the issue of the Black Stars and the new look, backroom staff. So let's begin from Asante Kotoko, going up against Hearts of Oak. Asante Kotoko have dominated for some time. The scores, worst case scenario, has been draws, but Kotoko came, they beat Hearts of Oak. At the last count, they beat Hearts of Oak, in Accra by a 1-0. And now there's a lot of pressure on the Phobians to deliver. And in global, rivalry folklore, this game doesn't matter whether you are down for relegation or you're in the best of form. You just have to win this game and just keep quiet and walk.
Truly, I haven't been following their performances lately, but when I got a wind that Kotoko was going to do away with their coach, what's his name?
Bashir Hayford.
Karim Zito.
Karim Zito.
I was stunned. I was disappointed because Karim Zito is a trainer. Karim Zito, just like has his coach, Didi Dramani. These are coaches who worked with the late Sam Ade. They learned some rudiments of football from this coach. And I was thinking that Kotoko was going to give Karim Zito a lot more time to either build a new team or to continue from where he took over. Karim Zito joined Kotoko. I think he already won 4 trophies in less than a year or two. And the reason for which they sacked him, in fact, he resigned. He was under pressure for non-performance. And for that reason, he had to resign. I didn't think he should have left at the time, or at this time. But coming against Hearts of Oak, you know, there's also some history. Anytime one of the teams have fired their coach, they come into these games strongly to win. So the Phobians shouldn't think that Kotoko has fired or Kotoko has done away with Karim Zito. Karim Zito has left, and that it will be easy for the Phobians.
So it will do very little to destabilize the front of the Porcupine Warriors. That's what you think for tomorrow's game?
If my info is right, Prince took over.
Yes.
Yes. Prince has been with Karim Zito for some time. Remember, Prince has also been around. He's a development coach and all. As to whether he can face the wrath that is coming from Didi Dramani, I cannot speak to it. But Prince will do everything possible, whatever it takes, to win this game. So he may also continue as Kotoko coach, but not a stopgap coach. Prince will do everything, and I wouldn't be surprised if Kotoko beats Haas. But I see that in the last few matches, Hearts seem to be stabilizing than Kotoko, if that's right. They seem to be stabilizing, and it is why I felt it was dangerous for Kotoko to allow Karim Zito to go. Because when it comes to mind games, Karim Zito could face Didi Dramani. I don't know what Prince is bringing on, but Prince has been around for a long time. He understands the terrain. His days with Tema Youth, he's been with Kotoko, he's gone back and all. So he also comes as an experienced coach. But a match like this, I think he's beaten Hearts once. I think there was a time he came in as a stopgap coach and he did some magic, but I cannot speak to it. But what I can say is that Hearts and Kotoko has no form guide, as we all know. Sometimes it depends on who gets the tactics right on the day. It's about luck, it's about tactics, it's about a lot of things. Whoever does it right may carry the day.
Whoever does it right may carry the day, and that takes me to our next set of messages. Let me just quickly take a look at some of the messages. Phobia all the way. David in Cantonment says, it's phobia all the way. It's time for revenge. And we will serve them, we will serve it to them cold like they did to us in the first leg. Thank you very much, David. Another one from Frank. Frank says, I see this ending in a draw because that is what the numbers are looking like. Thank you very much, Frank. Now, Clement sends a message and says, well, I agree with the analysis of Osesibe that the fact that they do not have, a stable technical head would give them a lot more reason to fight and make a lot of sense of this encounter. Thank you very much for that message. Another one from Osu Suarez. Okay, that's a very interesting nickname you've got there. Osu Suarez, he says, hello Nathaniel, thanks for this show. I am a Hearts of Oak fan. I still haven't gotten over that loss, that painful 1-0 loss that they handed us at the Accra Stadium. We have to stage revenge, and it has to be served very cold. Okay, thank you very much, Osu Suarez. Sometimes, we need to just meet up and figure out where all those nicknames come from. Thank you very much for all of those messages. Remember, it's 055 11 11 997. 055 11 11 997. Charles, we have a situation where there have been some key appointments ahead of the FIFA World Cup for the Black Stars. Now, this is not new. It's not nouvelle. But the numbers we're seeing, we've seen some immediate reactions to these appointments for the backroom staff of the Black Stars. And there are those who are talking about, the stretch on the budget and whether we really need this at this time and how much impact it can make. First of all, I want to begin from your initial reaction upon seeing this set of appointments for the backroom staff?
It didn't come as a surprise to me. It didn't come as a surprise to me at all because it's happened before. The first time we were introduced to this, during the Kwesi Nyantakyi era, it happened and Ghanaians didn't understand. But if you check all the big boys teams you find in Africa or the world, this is very common. And if you want good results, you need to spend. We cannot just go into the World Cup with the kind of backroom staff we have. We couldn't have gone into the World Cup with just Otto Addo, John Pencil, and the rest. Look, Uncle Nat, a lot of things do happen on the field of play. A lot of things do happen before the games. A lot of things do happen after the game. Look, you need technical men or coaches with different background. This is war. It is called a World Cup. This is not Africa Cup of Nations. This is not a league match. It is a World Cup. And for that matter, you must go into a World Cup well equipped. The likes of Germany, Russia, if they were playing in the World Cup, Brazil and the rest, the kind of backroom staff they bring. They have video analysts, they have scouts.
I want you to hold the thought there. I want to have an idea. I want everybody to have a full feel of the names that were released. So this is the full element of the backroom staff of the Black Stars. So head coach obviously is Otto Addo, and then the director of football and technical advisor is Winfred Schaefer. Now Desmond Ofe is one assistant coach. Derek Bonsu is an athletic coach. John Pencil, the Ghana legend, also keeping his position as assistant coach. And then you have Fatau Dauda the Lion as the goalkeeper's trainer. Now, Dr. Prince Pambo is the team's doctor. Now, Chris Perkery is the team's psychologist. And then Edward Abebio is a physiotherapist. Samuel Ankoma is masseur. Gregory de Gros is the chief video analyst. Awal Salifo Kamin is another video analyst. Mr. Aminu Shado, our very own Aminu Shado, retains his position as team manager. And then two kid officers, Isa Amadou and Rahman Alasan. So you've got two kid officers, you've got two video analysts made up of the chief and an assisting analyst, and then you've got one masseur, one psychologist, and one physiotherapist. All right. So look at the spread of it and tell me what your initial reaction as well is.
I commend the FA. It means they mean business. I've heard commentaries about the numbers and what people think, but if you want to be among the best, you must behave the way they do. And I am happy the FA has gone this way. Nats, I can assure you that at the end of the World Cup, when we are putting numbers together and we're doing bonuses, the numbers will be more than this. How do you go into a World Cup with one masseur or one physio? It's not possible. All your players have issues and have problems. One person cannot be responsible for all these players. So he will come with his team. Even the video analyst, the two of them, they will add. So elsewhere, you have a backroom staff, full bus, following a team, sometimes on an aircraft, including the cooks.
Yeah, so this is everybody put together as 15.
I don't think it's enough. They
It's
have
15.
They have been modest. Going to the World Cup with these numbers, I think they have been modest. And I feel they may do more. They just have been modest. 15 is not enough because the work at the World Cup is enormous. My only worry is that why do we wait until a tournament for us to bring all these guys around? If indeed we have a World Cup project at hand, We work with these guys since we started with the qualifiers. But sometimes it's also about cost. You cannot pay them over the period. Wait when you qualify for the World Cup and then you bring them in. But this number, I think the FA has been modest enough.
Okay, now let's get into a few of the details. You've mentioned the issue of a physiotherapist. I know where you're coming from, but I'd want you to give us a full feel in understanding, the dynamics and the realities on the ground. So we have 11 players who will be selected to play a game, and then you have, those who will be on the bench
Another
and all
10
that.
or 11 or 8.
Very well,
Eight.
very well. Now, paint the picture for us on why one masseur becomes woefully inadequate for a team playing at a tournament as crucial as the World Cup. Paint the picture for us.
So you have players in the room who can't even train because of a problem they have. Somebody must attend to them.
Very well.
You have players preparing for the next game or players on the pitch who needs that kind of services. Unfortunately, you cannot have one person. Even the doctor, Dr. Pambo, he's just the head of the medical team. There will be supporting doctors who would work with him. Just that he is the head of the medical team. Look, it will be woefully, the numbers you see, it's woefully inadequate. If indeed we want to do a World Cup business, if indeed we are going into the World Cup to ensure that all our players are medically ready, all our players are fit for the purpose for which they are going in there. I think that the numbers, like I said, they have been modest. Look, you go into a tournament, and let's say Germany is playing. You are based in a different place. Look, you cannot just analyze the Germans' game by watching on TV. You need your analysts or your assistant coach to travel, go see, either spy or watch the game and come give you information. That's why all these backroom stuff you see are very necessary. You need coaches who will be able to read games, coaches in the stand. Look, there are coaches who would study the defensive setup of a certain team, and they will prompt Otto Addo, that coach, this is how they play. Let's do ABC. You have a coach who will study the midfield progression of a certain team, and the coach will communicate to the head coach. In fact, the positioning of players and strikers, even in opposing teams, you need someone with special eye. The tension and pressure often on coaches, they won't be able to see all these things. If you want to play at the World Cup and play well, you need this backroom stuff.
Amazing stuff there. So, those who cry about the squeeze on the budget, what do we then say to them?
I have said, Uncle Nat, that if you want to leave a big boy, if you want the kind of results every country is getting, we shouldn't be afraid to invest. We must put in that kind of resources. Once we put in that kind of resources, we shouldn't be surprised our team will come with some good results. And you must also know that a few of our players, whether they have fitness issues, whether they have psychological issues, whatever it is, we need that kind of backroom staff that will be able to provide. Look, let me use athletics. You remember the Rose Hart case?
Very well.
Rose Hart was fired because when our relay team was running, she wasn't there. And then eventually, she had gone into town to go and buy something for the team. If she had that backroom staff, we wouldn't have had that problem. Another one, our last World Championship, the Commonwealth, where the team dropped the relay. Look, a lot of things happened, but there were things we never discussed. But for the presence of Professor Andrew Owusu, it would have been severe for Ghana. For the presence of Professor Andrew Owusu, it would have been severe for Ghana. It got to a point, Leo Miles Mills was alone. Leo was alone. at the time, we needed to prepare our jumpers. So there were two coaches. One was in charge of the jumpers. Leo was checking the relay, and there was nobody to see to either one of our guys. And the biggest problem we had, in fact, we had the relay problem because there was no coach around to ensure the change. When they pulled out this guy, our captain, Joe Paul, it wasn't communicated. But if we had enough backroom staff, that would have been communicated. So for any major event, Uncle Nat, if you want quality results, you must ensure you have quality backroom staff, enough to be responsible for the various activities within your competition period. So I think the FA has been modest, but I don't believe. I know it will be more than this.
Yeah.
And for those who complain about the stress on our resources, if we want quality performance at the World Cup, these things you see are needs. The backroom staff, it's a key component. It's a need we must ensure we have. So those running down the FA, challenging the FA about the numbers and all that, if they do understand football, they will appreciate where the FA is coming from. Otherwise, I don't do football. I'm a sports administrator. I understand that for putting together a national team, that you require high-level performance, you must get high-level quality backroom staff. And what the FA has done is in the right direction.
Amazing stuff there. Let's go to some of the messages that are here. One of them says, this is such a big strain on our resources. They had better perform, otherwise we will take them to task. Okay, this is from Andy in Ashaiman. Andy, thank you very much for that message. There's another one here that says, I agree 300% with Charles Osei-Sibe on this one. Many people or many football fans do not understand the game of football. They do not understand its dynamics, and they do not understand its workings. Otherwise, nobody will be complaining. If you want to rub shoulders with the Argentinas, the Portugals, and France and Germanys of this world, then you have to do what they do. Simple. All right, thank you very much for that message. There's another one from Thelma. Thelma says, we want to go into the World Cup and post a performance better than what we did in 2010. I say 2010 because it brings us so many beautiful memories, and I'm hoping that we can go beyond playing in the quarterfinals. I believe that the analysis around making an investment in it falls in very well. I believe that this also has to be a sacrificial element so that it can help us to get our act right and set things up properly for the FIFA World Cup. I have already secured my visa, and I will be there with my friends, and I've already put in a leave request at the office so I can go support my Black Stars together with my friends. Thank you very much, Thelma, and we're looking forward to seeing you at the FIFA World Cup. This is a very interesting message coming in there. Well, also plans about the World Cup are things that we'll be discussing as we go along with those who are intending to go. Those who need questions answered would have a special show for this later on. There's another one here from Into Samuel. Into Samuel says, Nathaniel, good afternoon, and thank you very much for this very educative show. I agree with investing in the right places, and I was hoping that the Black Stars already had this set up from word go. But I hope that the Ghana FA will keep this structure even after the FIFA World Cup. All right. Now, thank you very much, Into. Into has raised a very important, a very important point here about maintaining the structure. Maintaining the structure for the World Cup. Because if I throw back to our first, appearance in 2006, I remember that some scouts were appointed. The late Cecil Jones Atukwefiu was in there. Niadu Saki was in there. The late Coach Samade was in there. I know that for purposes of trade secret and security, football associations do not necessarily reveal the identities of their scouts for competitions. But would you be in favor of keeping the structure beyond the FIFA World Cup? And what would be the reason?
Well, to keep a certain structure, there's nothing wrong. But the modalities of managing the structure. Remember, earlier I had said that I would have wished that we had this in place. Unfortunately, it never happened. But I feel it's primarily because of resources. You know, the Black Stars plays, you know, an on and off, they have an on and off calendar. So they play this month, the next time they play is in 2 or 3 months. So if you want to keep these men, it means you're going to spend more. Is that the kind of investment we want to do? If the football people feel is the way to get the kind of results we want, let's keep it. Otherwise, we need to find a management system where, yes, the structure is kept, but the modalities around it will be different. One of the challenges I have, last week I was in Gambia for the AIPS Congress, and I heard Kenya complaining about their head coach. Kenya is being coached by this South African, their former striker, and according to the Kenyans, he lives in Scotland with his wife. He only comes in 3 days before a game. Kenya has an organized local league. So if indeed a coach wants to work, he would stay, monitor the league and build a local team like Kwesi Appiah is doing for Sudan. But this is a coach who lives in Scotland with his wife. He only comes when there's a game. And they are paying him so much. Unfortunately, we cannot speak about it. We are fortunate. Otto Addo is in this country. He travels around to monitor the players, you know, in the various leagues outside the country. But he's on full-time salary. So that is good. But to have part-time and the kind of remuneration we give them is just unfair. So I pay you as a coach. You take so much. You must win. So when you win, you take, in fact, I pay you monthly salary to win, performance salary. So I pay you salary to win. When you have won, you take winning bonus. When you qualify, you take qualifying bonus. What kind of business is that? Is that what we call motivation? But unfortunately, it's a canker all over, especially on the African continent. It's a canker. So we must find ways of, first of all, managing the resources we have and to be able to get the best from the little we have. Now I hear everybody talk about Morocco, 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 Morocco. There's a solid relationship between government and the FA. There's a plan. And that's why we see what Morocco is doing. It is not entirely government. It is a leadership vision that is in motion. And I feel that if we want to emulate, indeed we must check from the Moroccan model and see how we can do this. But to maintain this team after whatever, it depends on the program of the Black Stars. What we may do is that this will be a standing team for our national teams. So when they are done with the Black Stars, we move same team to the Queens, same team to U23, same team to U17, with the exception of the head coaches. If we're able to do this, for over a period of 2, 3, 4 years, we'll be able to understand the kind of transition we must implement. We'll be able to understand the body language and the medics of our players, because it is the same technical men who are doing this. So if you ask me, if you want us to maintain, yes, we can maintain on condition that same group will be used for the various national teams.
Amazing stuff.
Otherwise, it's not financially prudent.
Well,
we cannot sustain it because it's expensive.
Amazing stuff there. Charles, we're very grateful to you, and we look forward to seeing impact, an impactful, performance by this set of new members of the backroom staff of the Black Stars who have been tasked with this very, very important responsibility of ensuring that the Black Stars perform at the highest level possible. Thank you so much to all of you for doing the listening. We're looking forward to seeing who will be enjoying the winning packages from our Valentine promotions, and happy Valentine's Day to everyone. And thanks so much to the whole production team here, the camera, crew, and also my lead producer, Benaya Elom Dafiamepa. We're grateful to Mr. Yao Sechi of Delish Sports Bar, and of course our friends here at the University of Ghana Stadium. And remember that Joy Sports is up to a lot lately, and you just have to look forward to what we'll be doing next. And of course, later on, in some subsequent editions of the show, we'll come over to have conversations about the upcoming African Athletics Championship, which will be held here at the University of Ghana Stadium. All of these are many conversations that will come up. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful time. Remember that Showbiz A to Z will take over. My man Kwame Dazi and the rest of the crew will take over after this, and we'll hand over back to the studio. And have a wonderful time. Have a wonderful weekend. My name is Nathaniel Attoh, and I have love for sport.
Joy 99.7 FM.
This Valentine, don't just buy chocolates. Buy memories, buy laughter. Because love is not just in the air, love is on stage. Roverman Productions, in partnership with Joy FM and the National Theatre, presents the Valentine Fiesta. Friday, 13th February at 7 p.m. only. Love on the ropes.
Don't talk to me. Small cheating that I've cheated. Look at how you are overreacting. Am I the first? Will I be the last?
Saturday, 14th February at 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Dubai or no sex.
Where have you taken me on vacation?
We went to Kwewu for Easter. We went to Elmina for Bakatouo. We went to Keta for Ogbachocho.
Venue, National Theatre. Tickets, regular 300 Ghana cedis. Couples, 500 Ghana cedis. And 225 for our loyalty card holders. Tickets available via the Rover app. Cover short code *365 *535 #. Joy FM, Airport Shell, Community 11 Shell, Dansoman Shell, and Bachona Total. Call 050-554-6010. Partners, Koba, Gino Jollof Mix, Ebony Condom, Stan Big Bang, M Notified, Roverman Productions. Be the difference.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Mappé. Et mappé. Eh, Asamo. French idiot. This is midi croissant.
Meet Aja. She makes sobolo in a small shop in Kaswa. She's going places with MTN Ejumapa. Now, she's learning French kakra to teach her francophone customers indigenous recipes.
Watashi no namae wa.
Watashi no namae. Boy.
Whoa. She's learning Japanese too? Watashi. What? If you're a woman with a small business, join MTN Ejumapa today by dialing *5060# and enjoy 150 megabytes data, a lifestyle bundle for social media, free MTN to MTN calls every Monday, and an insurance cover. You will also gain access to expert training, discounts on digital tools, and financial support to grow the business of your dreams. Terms and conditions apply. MTN.
From Accra to Paris and now to London, Nana Banamwa presents Women of Valor London 2026 under the theme The Pursuit of Fearlessness. Come and listen to actress and television presenter Nanama McBrown from Ghana, actress Kate Henshaw from Nigeria, Leslie Batchelor, CEO of Export Boot Camps and former Director General UK Institute of Export and International Trade from the UK, Deborah Shanley, survivor of sexual abuse from the USA, and from France, Clarisse Magnan, senior partner and managing director of McKinsey France. Join us on 7